One of your biggest sources of pain, and the thing that prevents you from enlightenment, one of the biggest culprits, enlightenment being to lighten the load, to unburden yourself. Anything which burdens you needlessly and cause you needless suffering prevents you from enlightenment. Or enlightenment literally being to lighten the path, to shed light on something, things which you couldn't see and now you can. One of your biggest sources of pain is not recognizing that authority and responsibility are exactly the same thing. You cannot extricate authority from responsibility, and you cannot extricate responsibility from authority. In other words, you cannot take authority without taking responsibility, and you cannot take responsibility with something you do not have authority. So let me give you some examples. You cannot make changes, company-wide changes, as vice president of Magna Carta Company without the authority given to you by the president of that company. Because ultimately, the responsibility lies in the position hired to you, the responsibility for the company. If you make a company-wide alteration, change to rules and regulations or systems, which the president, the person who is your supervisor or your manager or boss, hasn't given you that authority, then you are responsible. You are then responsible for making that mistake because ultimately he's responsible for the company. And you can get fired for that. Let me give you a different example. You cannot take responsibility over which you do not have authority. Let's say your boss comes up to you, your manager comes up to you at work and say, the company has been doing incredibly well and you're one of our prized employees and you're really good at this. Could you do me a favor and could you set up a party, a company-wide party, a picnic outside at the park at 3 p.m. on Friday? Everyone in the company is going to show up. We're going to have a grand time. Friday comes up, 3 p.m. comes up, and you set up this wonderful and amazing party. Everybody shows up. And the picnic is amazing. Everybody's having a fun time. And suddenly it rains. And it rains so badly that the company-wide picnic was a bust. It was a disaster. Everybody had to go to work. The food was nobody ate the food because it was drained and soaked. The next day you come into work and your boss comes up to you. You know, the party was a bust. It was a disaster. You're fired. And then you ask, why am I fired? And then your boss tells you, well, because it was a disaster. It rained. And then you say, well, raining was not my responsibility. I have no authority about that, about the weather. And furthermore, you're the one who told me to set up that party. I was just doing what I'm told. It was your responsibility because you had authority over that decision, over that appointment, that scheduling. And so you go to HR and you report this and you make that complaint. And so you're not fired. So you cannot take responsibility over which you do not have authority. So let me give you an example that's more related to your relationships. And not only your relationships, but your personal development as a whole and your negotiations and your social interactions and your relationships with people, professionally, socially, or personally, or sexually. Can you make me angry? Let me ask you that question. Can you? Can you make me angry? Let me ask you another question. Can you make me sad? Now, the answer to that question is interesting. I'm going to laugh at you the more you try to get me angry because I'm watching you doing all these things like a circus clown, hopelessly trying to make me angry. You cannot take authority without responsibility, and you cannot take responsibility over which you do not have authority. Only I have authority over how I perceive things. I have authority over what I do, my behavior, my demeanor, and the process of which I process things, I perceive things. So no matter how much effort you put into trying to make me angry, I'm gonna laugh. Ultimately, no one can make you feel any way without your consent. So let me bring this home closer to you, because this is something that most people don't understand. And this is something that you're doing. This is something that everyone's doing in their relationships, because they do not recognize that authority and responsibility are exactly the same thing. Authority equals responsibility. You love your beloved, let's say, if you had a beloved, or there's someone you love tremendously, or someone in the past that you've loved tremendously, and you try to make them happy. So let me ask you a question. Can you make me happy? Can I make you happy? Let me ask it in a different way. Can you make your beloved happy? Can your beloved make you happy? Now, when I'm happy, because they cannot take responsibility over which they do not have authority, if they make me happy, my happiness is my responsibility. How I feel is my responsibility. If I'm angry at them because they said something heinous or vile or annoying or stupid, my anger would be my responsibility because it's my authority. Ultimately, it's my responsibility because I have control over how I perceive things and my behaviors towards them. If I become angry and have a behavior, have a heinous behavior, for example, if someone takes something someone says and becomes angry for it, and they start attacking them or start talking shit to them, it's their responsibility, not the person who's said something that they perceived as heinous. You understand? No one can make you feel any way without your consent. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said that. So, no one can make you feel any way. No one can make you happy. Only you can make you happy. Happiness is, after all, a choice. No one can make you angry. No one can make you sad. They can only contribute to it. They can contribute to your anger, but ultimately your anger is your responsibility and any behavior you do thereafter. And in the same token, no one can make you happy. Only you can make you happy. Happiness is your choice. Can anyone make you feel loved? Only you can make you feel loved. This is the reason why people who do not have love for themselves, no matter how much someone shows them affection or love, they will always feel in some way they're self-sabotaging. Let me see what time it is. They're always going to sabotage themselves because they do not have love for themselves. They have to go through that personal development to make those changes. Hopefully that helps. Share this video with other people. You're making the world a better place for all of us. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.